Okay, so now we have the door de-upholstered, and you can see the condition of the original inner liner of the truck. I don't think he wants to replace it right away, and even if he does, I'd rather go ahead and cut this one up since it's original, and if we do destroy it, then oh well. But you see the spot for the original speaker. It doesn't really leave much room to do anything with. We do want to use the aftermarket speaker and the speaker grill. This way it opens it up and we don't have to worry about sound muffling with these little grates that they did back in '74. But the speaker rides center of this. So if we take the speaker's grill ring and center it, that's not going to work. And even if I took a tool and cut around the perimeter so that this outer panel goes over the speaker, or we put the speaker in after we put the outer panel, you see the material we have to cut as it has this large lip. So my idea is this. Since the speaker doesn't fit in the door's hole already anyway, the speaker doesn't really fit in the hole very well. Now granted, there was no speaker in here to begin with. You see these tabs up here? It rubs, like right here, you see these tabs, it rubs in that indent, and the speaker does not fit in this hole no matter what you do. And even if we put it in the factory hole, you have this issue. My idea is to weld the hole closed and relocate the speaker just like that. That's the game plan. But first, before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and take the glass and the tracks out of the door and basically get this door to be an empty shell before we start trying to modify the hole and relocate the hole. Let's take the door apart. Okay, so now we have the door completely disassembled with the exception of the door lock assembly and the door latch assembly. The windows have been removed. All the weather stripping has been removed, along with the wing window, which is obviously no longer here. That's all outside. The unused speaker hole, and then we vacuumed up all the yuck and bits and pieces of rubber that fell into the door when we removed it all. That stuff was literally absolutely brittle. So now I've cut the door panel up for the speaker insert in its new location. As you see, I'm going to have to cut some of that metal away, the actual door frame up here. Cut some of that frame away, making an acceptable lip. I may have to do some more fabrication. I may actually have to just put a whole new piece of metal over that location. But the trick was to just get this door panel cut out with enough room to get the speaker grill insert in. Okay, so now what I have done is I cut this slug out of the bottom, effectively ovaling out the hole. Now my plan is, since this piece here is an attach point for the bracket, I'm going to cut a piece of metal around this outline and around that hole so that the door panel will go over it without my extra metal creating a problem with that hole there. Then the new hole will be cut, thus relocating the hole. I'll pre-paint that piece of steel and then I'll pop rivet it to the door. This way I don't have to worry about back treating anything that I damage from welding. Now to cut a template and cut the steel. So now I've cut a very basic cardboard cutout of the piece of steel that I'm going to make that goes right over the hole of the door. Now I just have to cut out the steel based on the template. Okay, so now what I've done is I've cut the piece of sheet metal, used the template to cut it nice, and in matching the hole I cut in the bottom of the door, I went ahead and riveted it to the door. This way it won't rattle and give me all kind of problems or worrying about screws loosening up. So now I just got to drill the mount holes for the speakers and then put the door panel back on. After, of course, I put all the felt and door material back in the door. Okay, so here we have the original radio. We didn't film taking out of it or taking the dash apart. I'll try to do better with that when we start modifying the dash to accept the new radio. But here we are with the original Ford AM only radio. And the reason I know it's original Ford is this. First of all, here's the original wiring harness to it. Speaker wire, only one speaker, mono obviously. But here's how you know it's original to Ford. If you take this backing plate off, Sorry, but the back of that dash is dusty as all hell. And you look here at the date code on the bottom, right underneath where it says Ford, right here by my thumb. It says D3 TA-18938-AA. Now, I don't know what all that means, but it does decode as to year, make, model, and what it was for, or what component. But here's the important part for me. The only thing I know for sure is D is the suffix for 70, C would be 60s, and so on. D3 would be 73. The rest of it, again, I don't know. But this is the original faceplate. That's the radio. Obviously, I have the hardware. We just took it all apart. So I don't know. This radio is of no use to us. We have no idea whether it worked or not. It just simply was there. So if anybody is looking for an original 1973 installed in a 1974 AM only radio, give us a call. This is probably going to wind up on eBay. Some purist will probably grab it for a couple of bucks. I don't know. If not, it'll wind up right there. This is the bracket that holds the heat, air conditioning setup right here, and the radio. Obviously, I cut this out earlier, had to add metal to the sides because no longer do we have a knob-style radio in here. So now, this is what goes directly into the dash in the hole where the radio used to be. This right here is your heat and air conditioning controls. Also, your dual fuel tank selector switch right here. This will mount right in here like so. This in its entirety will then bolt into the dashboard. After that, I put the radio in and then the cover. All right, we got this mounted up. Now it's time to put it in the truck. Well, I've now got the wires up in the hole for the radio. The plug, it's actually right here. And then up under the dash, I took care of the wiring. I've dropped the fuse block. I know it doesn't look so swell. I've dropped the fuse block. I'm going to finish wiring it once I actually get it running. Now the trick is I've dropped down the headliner. If you can see, it's just dangling. We're gonna put the microphone for the hands-free telephone right here, but I've got to string the wire along the top and then down the A-pillar. Now please forgive the lighting. I do need to get a light ring for around the camera. For right now, my portable light will do. I'm going to take a piece of this 10 gauge wire and run it up through the A-pillar and tape to it up here, and then I'll pull the microphone wire back down. Got it. That's a process I like to call working by braille. You can't see it, you just gotta feel it. Now the problem is there is a difference between this cavity and this cavity. There is a hole that I cannot get through up here and simply snake the wire over. The wire has to be drilled and then shoved through. So now I have to drill a hole in the steel right here. I'm going to drill it just above the bracket so the wires are kind of hidden along with the hole. Now we got to step up the drill bit. Got to go a little bit bigger so the plug will go through. Still not big enough. Damn, I don't want to make that hole too big. I think that'll work. Now I gotta go cut another piece of 10 gauge wire and fish that across. There we go. Now we're going to carefully tape the plug end to the wire sticking out of the hole. There we go, it went in. Very carefully get it to pop out this side. And here we are. Now I cleaned up the area around the hole I drilled. And here's this little trick I'm going to do. They supplied a double stick tape, but it's peeled the backing off. I'm going to cover up the hole with the bracket. Stick the bracket on like so. There's enough of the hole sticking out to where the mic can move. There. So now the mic will just sit right here like so. And it'll pick up anything from the driver talking or the passenger talking. Be a center mounted mic. I wanted it center mounted because even though we're going to put new weather stripping up here, I still feel the door seals will still be a little louder than we'll want. This way it'll be a little quieter than what we're thinking. It'll still be effective. The other thing too, I wonder for ease of installation, why do they make this bracket, why do they make this connector a 90-degree bend? If you're gonna have to pull it through holes or anything, you're gonna want it to be a straight line, not a 90. I didn't design it, I just install it. So just like earlier, what I'll do is I'll wrap it beyond the wire to make a little tail. Just make a tail out of tape. then I'll hook the actual connector. And now I should be able to pull that all the way down the A-pillar and down into the dashboard. And then I just got to go across to the radio. Got it in my hand. There we go. Now we just got to run this the last little bit. Plenty of room over to the radio hole. Now Sean will have hands-free telephone operation in his old school pickup truck. I'm going to go ahead and install the radio now. This is the tether for your phone if you want to tether it direct to the radio as opposed to going Bluetooth. Fish that real close to it like so. I still have to order a new antenna for the truck. Until it gets here, we'll just run without it. Plug in the main harness. The only other thing left is the microphone up above. This up here. For your wireless communications with your telephone. And then the amplifier. We'll shove this all in the dash from underneath. I'll zip tie it all up neat. Radio is now installed. Put the truck's accessory on. Here comes the radio. Bluetooth mode. Phone select. So we'll go to my phone. Go to my settings. Connections. Bluetooth. You want it on. Scanning for devices. Oh, right here, sorry. Cruising down the street in my 6-4. Okay. See if the telephone side works. Hands free. Okay, look right at it.
Hey, baby.
Hi, baby.
Hi.
You're being recorded on the... I'm in the truck recording. I'm sitting in the truck recording with the camera, and I'm using the hands-free like we do in the Oldsmobile and the Expedition.
Uh-huh.
How's it sound?
Sounds pretty good.
Okay. All right. Well, just want to make sure... Just testing it out, make sure it works.
Okay.
All right. See hi to all the peoples on YouTube.
Oh, hello.
Obviously, they ain't going to talk back. Leave a comment if you like it. All right. Well, let's hang up, and I'm going to play some music that I use on the channel so I don't have to worry about copyright crap.
All right, baby.
Love you.
Love you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
iHeartRadio, Spotify, Bluetooth. Here we go. my God, that's sick. I love it. That's badass. Now I gotta send a Snapchat to Sean. Let him see his new stereo system in action. It works. We're good with that. So the next step really is just put the dash panels back on and we're pretty much done. So now one of the final touches is the dash. Gotta remove the knob. There we go. That dash is back together.